Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Let it out. Let it out. You guys can cry.
We could do just 2 hours of cheering.
We could just do 2 hours of yeah, cat. Welcome to Yeah
Why
Cat.
not 3 hours?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I think I've got a lot of the neighborhood dogs barking, so
Yeah, that's how you know you got good content, right?
that's
dogs
how,
responding.
exactly. They know every time, every week, Thursday, they know that sounds of hype will come booming out of this house,
Dogs hate hype.
resonating throughout the cul-de-sac.
It really hurts them. Like once you know you're hurting the
They're
animals.
trying to join in. That's what they're doing. They want to watch the trailers, but they can't because they're dogs and they don't understand them.
Yeah, it's just light and
That's
noise
so
to them.
sad.
They
What do
want
know?
to. They want to, but it's just not in the cards.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the many tragedies of dogs.
It's the biggest one, in my opinion.
I agree. We were talking about him off mic here. I was surprised it carried over into the introduction of the podcast.
Well, you mentioned a podcast, so let's go ahead and do that. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Another episode of Hypecast.
Hypecast.
Oh, it's a show where we get hyped about stuff and things. I'm your co-host, Tom Ryman.
I'm the other co-host, David Bell.
And I'm guest Adam Ganser.
Guest. Welcome, guest.
Thank you. Yow!
How are you?
Oh, I'm ready for a howling good time, Dave.
Yeah. Are you healthy? Are you
Howlin'
well?
Adam Ganser. That's what they
Am
call
I
him.
healthy? I'm healthier today than I was yesterday, Dave.
That's good.
What
Yeah,
happened
for real.
I'm
yesterday?
the opposite.
What? Thank you for this great
Every-
inquiry into my health. I really appreciate it.
Well, no, that's great.
Well, you know, this is just a broadcast for all of you chubbalubs out there like me. Hey, eat better and exercise, because around 40, you start getting blood tests, and it's like, oh, shit, you need to get this under control. And I'm doing that now. Like, that's where I am doing that now. Yeah. That's
No,
the
yeah,
truth.
I lived some hard years in my 20s, let me tell you. And in my 30s, it's all me desperately trying to buy it back.
Yeah.
And
Is it working? Is it working for you,
No,
Dave?
well, no. Every day I get weaker. But here's the secret.
every day my aura diminishes.
Hannah's just eyeing you, waiting till the day she can arm wrestle your ass to death. It's gonna be so good.
I'm starting to think about the blood of the young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys think there's something there?
Maybe.
I mean, I know Blood Boys are definitely the future.
Yeah.
I could see a Blood Boy, frankly, by the time I'm 45. That's not even long for me.
Yeah, all the wealthiest ghouls have them.
Yeah. If anybody out there wants has like good blood,
Yeah.
mail us your blood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, if anybody's interested in what we're calling an internship at Ganscorp, please apply. You know, please apply. We have plenty of spots available.
Yep.
Do not read the
Just-
listing, though. Just apply.
No. Just send pictures of your veins. And
We'll accept an illustration in lieu of a photograph.
Yeah, a cartoon map of your veins would be extremely useful.
A topographical map.
yeah.
This is sad but true. Sad but true. Yeah.
Listen, Metallica, they've all got blood boys.
Oh,
Do they?
Of course they do.
course
How do you
they
think
do.
they've been rocking for 40 years, Dave?
You can't rock
Oh,
that
you're right.
long
No.
without a blood boy or two.
Yeah, what do you
No,
think happened to their
all the
first
greats.
bassist?
All the greats have them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's why Zeppelin will never sell their catalog to commercials and stuff, because they lose their Blood Boy rights.
It's the secret to success.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's their blood boy revenue. You can't hand that over.
Yeah.
Not if you want the keys to the Palace of Eternal Life.
They're gonna immediately wither, like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, if they start selling their music.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second you hear Cashmere under a commercial for, like, I don't know, sneakers or whatever, just imagine Robert Plant withering.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like a picture
a
of Dorian
dried-up
Gray.
flower.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's gonna happen. This is a classic Us, right? It is a classic Us
Yeah.
intro, right?
This is pretty
Yeah.
vintage.
We're doing
us.
it. We're the gang's all here.
We are
you know?
satisfying a very specific fan base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about 8 people are pretty pumped
Yeah.
about that
Thrilled.
Robert Plant reference.
Yeah. We should probably get started, though.
All right, I'm going to thank some producers. Big thank you to the conveniently placed self-destruct button on the top of every baby's head.
Forever.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
Forever, thanks.
Thank you to Lef. Thank you, Lef. Thank you to Samuel Beckett's Donuts and Mortgage Emporium. Thank you. Thank you to Ryan, the silly money goose. Thank you to Snapper Carr, punches God in the dick.
Sure does.
Thank you. Thank you to @Nerd Numbers. Thank you. Thank you to Mike the Lurker. Thank you to DJ Finney. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you to Dracula, the bus driving vampire. Thank you to Brockway loves the meat Millie.
Yeah, he does.
Thank you to Grumblebee. Grumblebee, thank you.
All right. Let me
you.
swoop in here. Thank you to Screaming Horse Pyramid. Thank you to
Thank you.
Look Mom on a podcast.
Thank
Thank
you.
you to Seismic Charge Noise. Bwam.
Thank you.
Thank you to Deborah's Awesome, Barbara's Great, and Cancer Can Go to Hell.
Thank you.
Thank you to Numina Ultramicroscopic Silico Volcano Coniosis Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you to the baby from Eraserhead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you to Chiz Lily Tits.
Thank you.
Thank you to these 7 Bs.
Thank
Thank you to Breezy Ruizy. Thank you to
Brucey.
Davey Francis for the Revenge. And thank you to MVB.
No,
you.
he's beautiful. That
Yeah.
I can
Oh,
say.
yeah.
Like, that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
beautiful guy.
Lots of killer artwork. Dave,
Yeah.
when you do the thing where you jump
Do I have
around,
a movie that deserves more hype?
when you do the thing where you jump around through the dock with your cursor, your name pops up above the cursor and it blocks the names I'm trying to read. So if you could knock that the fuck off the next time we do this.
I don't think I,
Working
I
with
don't
Dave's
think I
like
can.
working with Dave's like working with a pair of horse blinders. It's
Yeah.
just like, well, I don't have full control or sight. I'm just going down this enclave. I hope it's going good for me.
Yeah. I recited those
clicking.
names mostly from memory.
I like clicking around. I like clicking.
Yeah.
I like it.
Let's talk about some trailers.
The Man Who Fell to Earth sequel, I believe.
To what?
I believe to the David Bowie, right? Isn't there a David Bowie, The Man Who Fell to Earth?
There's the man who sold the world.
Yeah, that's a
Wait.
song that was
Man
covered
who-
famously by the Nirvanas.
Okay, no, you guys are making me feel like I'm losing my
Oh,
mind.
you're right. Yeah,
1976, The Man Who Fell to Earth stars
Yes.
Oh.
Rip Torn
Okay.
and David Bowie.
Sure.
And I believe, what's his name, is, I think, playing the same role? Bill Nighy? Because he
Really?
says, I brought you here to continue my work.
Bill Nighy's
so I'm
Nighy's playing the David Bowie part, you mean?
That's what I'm guessing.
Okay.
That's my guess, is that it is, let's see, Thomas Jerome Newton is his character's name.
Yeah, that's Bowie.
Yeah.
What a wild connection for this that I
This is
didn't know
also
existed.
a novel.
Is it?
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all sorts of sci-fi.
I had a really hard time imagining this as a series.
Same.
As a movie, I was like, sure, this seems great. But as a series, I was like, what? I mean, a limited series, I guess I can see, like a 10-episode limited series. But like a season 2 of this is like, what? You know?
Yeah,
Right?
This must be a limited series, right?
I would
also,
assume,
to confirm,
but
Bill
man.
Nighy is playing David Bowie's role.
Okay, cool.
Or at least they're playing the same character name. So that all checks out. I don't know what the fuck this is about. It's like some sort of alien?
Yeah, and it's about a man who falls to Earth. I don't know, dude.
All right.
I don't know anything about it. The trailer, the trailer looks fine. I like all the actors, like Chiwetel Ejiofor and Naomi Harris, obviously, and then there's also Jimmy Simpson's in there. Fucking Lester from The Wire is in there. Clark Peters.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And then also Rob Delaney. Toward the end of the trailer,
just
Rob Delaney shows up.
hanging out in this too, yeah.
And
So,
yeah.
not to be a complete prick, but this is basically E.T., right? Like, it's basically the E.T. story, isn't it?
I don't know.
It feels
looks
more
like
like
it.
Day the Earth Stood Still. So here's what I'm sick of, and it's not this thing's fault, is I feel like I've watched like a million now movies where an alien tells us our planet is dying.
Yeah.
Sure, right.
And it's like, well, fuck you, man. We know.
Yeah.
We know. Are you going to help? Are you going to help?
Maybe doesn't hit as it's maybe doesn't hit the same way as it did in the 60s when the novel was published.
Right. And
Are you
that
gonna
new
help?
Yeah.
Are you gonna do something?
That is what I want my protagonist to say, like right at the end of Act 1. Well, what the fuck are you gonna do about it, alien?
Yeah. You're
Like,
an
I'm way
alien.
in on that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Keanu Day the Earth Stood Still, which I just like randomly watched recently. It's the same deal where he's telling us our planet's fucked. There's that one Knowing with Nicolas Cage. I watched something. It doesn't matter. I
None
don't
of
need
those
to name
films
all
are
the
recent
movies.
though, so this is like
No, there was one I watched recent. And I was trying to figure it out in my head, but doesn't matter.
Like
This doesn't matter.
Like on a fundamental level, isn't this the story of an alien who is looking for new resources and needs to get back to his other aliens so he can leave? Isn't that what this really is?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like
That's
he's
what
being
it looked like.
It seems like he's being pursued in the trailer
It
Well,
says an alien.
by
okay,
the
it says
aliens.
the plot is an
Oh.
alien who arrives on Earth at a turning point in human evolution and must confront his own past to determine our future. You just made me think a very funny version of this, which is like it would be funnier if it was like E.T., and the other aliens are pursuing him, and then it's revealed like, no, he killed his wife on
Right,
our
I was
planet.
gonna say
Right,
like
yeah.
like E.T. is like a
Yes.
grizzled ex-cop.
Yeah.
He has to
On the run.
confront his past.
Yeah. Like his past isn't like something mystical. It's just like, yeah, he's a criminal.
Yeah.
He was like doing like credit card fraud.
He shot a clerk in a liquor store robbery
Right. And,
But-
yeah,
on Rigel
that's
4.
I just figured out what it was. By the way, Peacemaker also does this.
I see.
Your planet is dying, and so I don't know. There's like it's just a weird. I don't know. I'm sick of being reminded of that. I guess by aliens and movies, but this still looks fine.
Well, because now, it no longer feels like an artistic statement. It feels more like somebody cashing in on people's concern about those issues, right?
Right. Like this
that's
isn't
my thing.
Yeah.
and again, you can't really hold it against this story because this is an older story, even though this is apparently
Right.
a sequel to that story. But like you were pointing out, we've just seen this so many times since 1963. It's hardly. And even like before that was the original Day the Earth Stood Still. So it's like it has long since outlived any profundity it may have had. It's been like, half
Exactly,
a
and now
century of people like, but what if aliens came and told us our planet was dying? It's like, all right, like, yeah, we got it. I don't know.
Right, and now it's like it's not that like the message isn't something that like I get it. It's just it's like I don't need to be reminded of this. I think about it every day. I just want to watch like an alien. For the record, The Man Who Fell to Earth, the original, seems like it's not about our planet dying. It's about him trying to save his dying planet.
Sure.
So it is again, it does make sense for a sequel to the Alien to be like, oh no, you guys are also fucked, huh?
Well, he says in the trailer that his homeworld is also dying.
Right. It
Like, so I don't
sounds
even
like
think they changed that. You know?
no, it's more like as a sequel, it's now like I also have to recognize that your planet is dying. Like I think the original might not have talked about that aspect. It was just
Okay.
it was just like, your planet is great. My planet's dying. I don't know. I haven't seen it, so.
My only note that has not been touched on is I think the way the aliens look when they're aliens is kind of silly.
A little bit.
And I say that because this is treated with deep seriousness.
Oh yeah, this is
Like,
a very
this is-
very serious trailer.
Not a playful seeming trailer, and they look kind of like aliens from basically any comedy where aliens were in it. You know, like they could be
That's
a
a
Men
really-
in Black
yeah.
reject.
That's a really good comparison. I'm trying to scroll through to see them again. I remember they looked like demons, right? They looked
They
like,
had
like kitty cats.
They had like cat eyes and sort
Yeah.
of fish faces and stuff. You know.
But like it is a good comparison where it's like whenever a comedy needs like an alien, it's not like the first consideration of that comedy usually. So they're just like throwing whatever on the actor, I would say.
Yeah, I do
And
really
so like
I do really, really like the way I'm going to butcher this person's name. Forgive me. It's is it Chiwetel?
Chiwetel,
right?
I believe.
Chiwetel?
Okay. Chiwetel is playing the alien. He's like
Yes.
he's murdering the alien. I love what he's doing.
Yeah, he's great.
So it's not a complaint about that. It's just like
no.
make your alien look cool. You know,
the performances look good. He's not playing the same character obviously, but like that's a great. So you have the first one with David Bowie. What do? It's like go completely different.
Yeah.
Do someone who's going to do a different thing, and yeah, he does. I don't know. He seems really like
it reminds
he
me.
seems like he would carry this kind of.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of Jeff Bridges and Starman.
Yeah,
The way
Yeah,
he's
yeah, sure.
delivering his lines. He's not as obviously that movie. The tone of that movie is very very different, but it's just the way he's delivering his lines in this trailer reminded me of that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems it's not like a bad idea. But I still feel like, hey man, this is enough. This premise doesn't feel like a TV premise to me. You know, like it's a movie premise.
Yeah, and it just doesn't hook me anymore.
Right. Also, I'm looking at the aliens now. They look like Star Trek aliens.
Sure.
They look like they took a human and they put a couple of pieces of shit on their face.
Right.
And then they're like, we got an alien. And it's like, that worked with Star Trek because we all accepted it. But like, I don't know, maybe make them look like extremely different.
It's just
or whatever.
weird. This is a Showtime series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just weird how you always know. You know what I mean? Like there's something about Showtime that I guess I shouldn't get too crazy about this. I just feel like they don't quite nail the details in the premium way, the way that you would expect an HBO series to do it.
Here's how I'll word it, because I know what you're talking about. Showtime still feels like television. It
Yeah.
still feels like old
Right.
television.
Yes.
Like a little bit. It feels like mid 2000s where it's like I would say that all the actors are great. I'm sure there's a lot to love in this, but there's something about the aesthetic that just feels like it's 10 years old.
Right. You just worry that when you flip over to Showtime to see this show, you're definitely going to have to scroll through like a late night section still. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's still going to be on their app. Like they haven't really got to
Right.
where we are. I don't know. This doesn't convince me they've made the jump yet. They did have
Yeah.
Dexter. They did have Dexter. You know?
I never saw that.
It's
It was
fine.
fine. Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
I only watched some of the new season. That's it. And it
Oh
looked
no,
fun.
I have not watched the reboot of Dexter, a thing that is completely baffling to me on paper. I'm just talking about the original Dexter, which was a pretty good show with an incredible theme song. But you didn't bring me here to do Dexter chat.
This isn't Dexter
no,
Cast,
that's a later podcast. Yeah.
One
Well,
that I
do you
will
wanna-
be
That's coming
pitching.
out. That's coming out next week.
Do we want to talk about this next trailer? Because this next
Oh, yeah.
trailer is fascinating.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is Hustle, starring Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Co-produced by
and-
Sandler and LeBron James.
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
about basketball. It's apparently got Ben Foster in it. Was he in the trailer?
I didn't see him, but I
God,
believe
he's
you.
always
I'll
sneaking
say
up
yes.
on you.
I'll say yes.
He probably
He
was
in the
there
trailer.
somewhere. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I'm not gonna go verify it, but I'll sneak a yes in there.
It's Adam Sandler. He's serious because he's serious because look at that beard.
Yeah, he's serious, but like unless there's a Safdie brother near him, I just feel like maybe this isn't the project for him to keep trying to bust out his acting chops.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
he
get a
likes,
Safdie on him. Safdies get him.
Yeah, he likes basketball. We know this about Adam Sandler, and so I'm guessing this is actually like a fun passion project for him. That's my guess. Is that he just wanted to make this. I mean, he is a producer after all on it. And so
it just feels, and I don't want to like come out entirely against this. There is absolutely nothing about this other than the names of the people involved that suggest this is anything other than like the most stereotypical basketball story.
He's if you guys haven't seen the trailer, Sandler is playing coach or mentor of this up and coming
I think he's a scout
player. Or a scout. Okay, yeah, it wasn't clear.
Yeah, according to the synopsis, he's a washed-up basketball scout who discovers a phenomenal street ball player while in Spain. So it's all right. And sees it as an opportunity to get. So he's pushing this guy as like his way to get back into the NBA.
So it's the era there.
To relive his glory days.
Yeah, or the scout,
or the scout with Albert Brooks. Yeah. Brendan Fraser.
I guess my reaction to this was just like, oh, good for him. Like I just think this is gonna make him happy, Adam Sandler, and we all want him to be happy, right?
I think he's pretty happy.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't need content to exist to make Adam Sandler happy. I appreciate that he is challenging himself, but I worry the cynical part of my brain turned on for this and said, this seems like a perfectly placed, let's just cash in on the basketball fans' money we're going to make him a European player to appeal to a different market, and he's going to come of age and like be a successful guy, and we're going to put LeBron James's name all over this, and it's really just a generic basketball story.
Right.
There's like
That's
was
what it felt like.
nothing about this that said it was more than that.
I mean, you're right. The only thing that would make me give this a second glance is the fact that it's Sandler and LeBron James are involved.
Yeah, I want to tell you about the next thing Sandler's going to be doing and why you guys can skip this one.
Great.
It's called Spaceman. It's from the guy who did Chernobyl, the Chernobyl series.
So
and
far,
it's
so
about
good.
a Czech man who becomes an astronaut, and it stars Adam Sandler as that man, and then Carey Mulligan and Paul Dano as backup.
That's a
as
movie,
the
okay.
co-stars. Yeah, and I'm just looking at this like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but I guess I'm going to watch this. I'll skip the basketball one. Although, again, good for him. I hope people enjoy it. I am not, like, I have... It's the thing where Hustle, I'm just like, not for me. I hope it's for somebody.
I'm all in on middle-aged Adam Sandler having the Murray Renaissance that he had in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I'm all in on that. I think Adam Sandler has a lot of talent that hasn't been fully explored. I'm completely in on that. But, like, there are really good basketball movies that exist. You know what I mean? And that are about every aspect of this. This is kind of the only basketball movie generally that we get anymore.
Yeah.
You know, we sort of only get this story, and it's like, yeah, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to see something that's not exactly this, and maybe I've got it all wrong.
Have they done one where a dog plays basketball?
Air Bud, bro. Come on.
They have, man. They've done a few of those, yeah.
Oh, then I'm out of ideas.
That's it for Dave. That's all Dave's got.
Yeah, that's all I had.
I feel like at this point, LeBron James's track record as a movie producer deserves for us to be like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Like, hey, man, is this going to be a cash grab, or is this going to be
What else has he produced?
Space Jam, too.
Oh, okay. I was really hoping it was something like a Coen Brothers film or something.
Yeah, sure.
Like, it was just...
Hey, maybe he's done more than that, but Space Jam 2 alone is like, I am now concerned about what gets made, with just plastering LeBron James's name on it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So sorry.
Oh shit!
Sorry to be so
sorry.
cynical.
I'm looking at LeBron as a producer. He is just producing stuff. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
He's producing the new Friday the 13th movie.
That's why he's here, dude. That's why he's a Laker. That's literally
what the
why.
fuck is happening here?
Mhm. Yeah, that's why he moved to LA.
They're all following.
Really?
Yeah, they're all following the Kobe blueprint, which is like,
Holy
hey man,
shit!
let's get into films and like make some money. There's a lot of athletes doing that now.
No, I get it. Because, like, I always think about, like, okay, I've always heard that tip of, like, if you fell into a lot of money, something you should do is become a landlord. Because it's like, oh, that makes money. You can become a sinister landlord. And, like, and then you always kind of have a place to live and you always have an income. I like the idea of this tip going around, like, sports stars of, like, what you do is you start becoming a producer. Like, that's just, like, a thing you do. And I just think that's really, like, having that kind of money to just, like, passively produce stuff is just, I don't know, there's something funny about that in my head.
Yeah, it's just a different kind of investment, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how Spielberg got super wealthy.
Yeah.
You know, but by investing as a producer in movies, like not even by directing. You know, so I mean, he made money on directing, don't get me wrong, but like he made his fortune, as I understand it, by backing a bunch of successful projects. Right? Tell me I'm wrong, Tomo.
No, I believe that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing where you like look up his IMDb credits and it's just like hundreds of things under producer.
Right. LeBron is also producing something called White Dave.
Yeah, I
Do you
saw
think,
that.
Can I sue? Can I sue them?
Unless it might be about you. Are you sure you're not in the movie?
Oh, it might be
The fact
about
that
me,
you would
that's true.
entertain that idea that LeBron James would ever make a thing about David Bell just warms my heart.
You don't know that
know.
he's not.
I don't know. I also don't know a lot of things. Is there a multiverse or not? You know what I mean? Like, cosmologically, there's a lot of impossible to know things. This feels safe to me.
What if I'm
In
secretly
one
what
of
if I'm
those
secretly
universes,
working?
yeah, in one of those universes, LeBron is making a movie about Dave about a dog playing basketball.
And I'm there watching it because, of course, I am. You know,
Why wouldn't you be? Of course you would.
Of course, I would be. Right. Every multiverse, that's what happens.
All right. So let's check Hustle off our list here,
Yeah,
right?
right off. Yeah, but,
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I got a real Affleck vibe from Sandler in this trailer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there is an
Ooh,
Affleck.
yeah, he is a little flecky.
He's
yeah.
kind of doing a Ben Affleck in this trailer.
But
Yeah.
Ben Affleck kind of doesn't get enough credit for like being pretty good in a lot of these kinds of movies.
Yeah.
Like as much as we all like to joke around about Ben Affleck, he's like a B- usually at his worst day. Whereas like I don't think Adam Sandler is that dependable yet or at all, right?
I don't know. It's hard to tell with him, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I want him to do the Bill Murray thing, but I just worry that this is not that kind of project.
Yeah.
Like I got so pumped on Uncut Gems. Like I was so pumped on that movie and on him in that movie that I'm like, dude, please, Adam Sandler, keep going for it. And this doesn't feel like that to me. So hopefully I'm wrong.
I hope so too. I usually do. It's one of the prayers I say before I go to bed
I wake
at night.
up to my shrine that's just you
I hope Adam is wrong.
in a grave. Yeah.
I hope he's wrong.
I've made a little you in a little grave, and I pray to it. Let this happen.
It's like a little nativity scene. It's just Adam in his grave.
Yeah, let this happen. That's what I pray every
You
day.
got little X's on your eyes.
I need to talk about this next
Sure.
trailer.
Yeah.
This series called The First Lady, which
Yeah.
at first I was like, oh, it's a Michelle Obama series. But no, they're biting off way more than that.
They do 3 generations of first ladies.
Yeah. And I think they chose really compelling actresses to do those roles. And I really feel like they were like, who's going to play the presidents? The husbands. And they were like, just get whoever we can get.
It reminds me
They're
of...
like, okay, we got Kiefer Sutherland over here. It's like, give him Roosevelt.
Kiefer
Who gives
Sutherland
a
is
shit?
FDR. Yeah, it reminds me of the movie The Butler with Forrest Whitaker, where it's like everyone playing the different presidents is just madness in that movie.
Yeah. This is the same. Like, obviously, it's not like they kind of accidentally stole the trailer from me, even though like fucking Gillian Anderson is Eleanor Roosevelt. I'm like, absolutely. Viola Davis as Michelle Obama, Michelle Pfeiffer as Betty Ford, Dakota Fanning as Ford, Susan Ford.
The little Ford, yeah. And then
Little Ford.
fucking Aaron Eckhart is Gerald Ford.
Yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing, Aaron?
That didn't bother me. That was like the cast. I was like, sure, okay, I see that.
That actually, yeah, he's wearing some tremendous prosthetics. It's great.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Kiefer is the one that really sent me over the moon.
It's like, what? Yeah, I thought the same. It's like no amount of prosthetics is going to remove the Jack Bauer of it all here.
Right,
That's
you
not
are
happening.
Kiefer Sutherland. Just looking at him wearing all of his FDR makeup with the cigarette holder in his mouth, sitting behind his desk working on presidential papers. All I can think about is beneath that FDR costume, you are just covered in weird tattoos.
Yeah.
About drinking whiskey.
Yeah, bleach that man's mullet, let him fly through the air like the vampire he is. You know
Hell
what I mean?
yes,
Get the fuck out of here with this.
Let me see that Young Guns tattoo.
They also have
He's tatted up like a Russian gangster.
the actor Rhys Rhys. Just have a normal name.
Reese.
Wakefield. Reese Wakefield is playing Dick Chasey.
Dick Chasey.
Dick Cheney.
What the fuck is wrong with you right now, Dave?
I'm having trouble with words, but I'm pretty sure I'm looking at this guy. I think he's the bad guy in the first Purge, which seems too young to play Dick Cheney.
I don't know.
I'm
fits.
okay with
I get it.
I'm okay with the Rogue Cheney casting.
Wouldn't it? I want him to be like a sexy, like.
Well, it depends on how old
I want them
Cheney
to-
is, right? In
Yeah.
whatever period they're showing him.
Well, it's going to be from the Barack Obama era, right?
Or no, from
could be Ford.
George Bush. Oh yeah, it could be.
He's
Ford.
he's been in government for a while.
Right.
Man.
Well, we'll see.
I want it to be the Barack Obama era, and I want like some of these, like I want him to just no makeup. They don't Christian Bale him. He's just like a young man who they've decided is Dick Cheney.
Young Chain. Yeah, off the chain they call it. It's a whole spin-off
Off
on
the
him.
chain. He skateboards around.
Yeah, he skateboards in and says like, we could probably build missiles for pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's got a Lockheed Martin wallet chain.
connecting to his front belt loop. Yeah, I'm into it. Hey, so can I just make one critique of this? I really do like this idea. I feel like they were a little gutless on which first ladies they picked.
I was about to say the same thing. It feels like they're jerking themselves off a little bit.
Well, they picked
I
disagree.
Well, hold on. So they picked safe people. They picked Michelle Obama, and then they picked Gerald Ford's wife, Betty Ford, who has a story we all know. Her story is a story we all know. And Eleanor Roosevelt, who's like such a revered figure. And it's like, wait a minute, a show like this, if it's going to be interwoven or cut between seasons or I guess episodes or whatever, can we pick slightly more controversial figures?
I would have enjoyed Laura Bush, and she just keeps like slamming people with her car, one after another.
But for real, why can't we have Nancy Reagan, or why can't we have
I was about
Hillary
to
Clinton?
say Nancy. I think Nancy Reagan or Hillary would have been interesting.
Yeah,
I get why not Hillary, just because it's like, all right, we've had enough Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, we've had a lot of Reagan stuff lately too.
When have we ever seen Hillary Clinton portrayed in fiction?
Well,
the impeachment, the American Crime Story season 3.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't watch that, so maybe that was
Edie Falco.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
I think I agree with you where it does feel like, I don't know. These are all interesting people, and again, everybody who's playing them, it looks really compelling. I also agree where it's almost like I hope there's a season 2 when they start getting really into the shit here.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting.
I think a compelling season 2 would be Nancy Reagan and Hillary Clinton for sure.
100%. Get Dolly Madison in there. You know what I mean? Like, let's get some first ladies who have a little bit of notoriety and aren't so safe. You know, I don't know. I think it'd be fascinating to watch a story
Mary
about
Todd
Nancy
Lincoln.
Reagan. I mean, duh. You know, obviously that one's interesting. So I don't know. I just feel like this was
she
a
went
little safe.
she went crackers trying to do seances to contact her dead children. It's a really fucking buck wild story.
Yeah.
I mean, in her defense, kind of a lot of shit happened.
It deserves to be told, you know? Anyway, not that I don't like, it's not that I don't like who they picked. It's just that I think that it just doesn't seem like they were picking people who would be in any way controversial.
I see
feel
what
like
you're saying.
They pick really safe people.
They pick the obvious people too.
Yes, exactly.
I get it.
Yeah.
Although I do agree that Nancy Reagan seems like an obvious choice because of the whole just say no shit, and then the Reagan 80s, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Here's my other question, though. So this is just what's also wild to me is this is all one season. Like, they're not doing one first lady a season. So how are they going to balance all this? Is
Yeah, I
every
don't know.
episode going to be
assume-
skipping back and forth?
And I remember reading about this when they were casting it. So I assume the intent of the story is about like the generations of women who've passed through the White House, particularly in the 20th century,
Right.
or 21st century rather, for Michelle Obama.
It'll probably follow a similar thread
There'll
for
be
each
a
of them.
connective theme or story or idea that each storyline is relating to. That's what I expect.
Or
Right.
it could be Westworld styled, where you're like, you expect them all to be in different time periods, and it's like, nope, First Lady universe, baby.
That's what I
They're
was
all
going to say. What if it's a
together.
mystery box? What if it's like the first episode ends with Roosevelt going into a room and there's like a glowing cube, and that's like
Yeah, he is the
linking
cosmic
them all
cube.
together. Yeah, that would be. See that now? That's a show.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I mean, yeah.
The First
I don't know why
Ladies
they
through
wouldn't-
time.
I know
Oh, shit.
I know that's irreverent because I understand that these stories kind of do need to be dignified and well told because we don't hear them. So I get
Yes.
that. I get that, but also First Lady universe where they're all in the same time period really thrills me.
Well, so here's how you can think of it. This opens that up. Because you're right, the first go around has to be dignified and to actually cover it for the reasons you're saying, which is like we don't tell these stories nearly as much, and then after that, time travel, right? The next First Lady series someone wants to do can have time travel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lady Bird Johnson at the helm.
Yeah,
that'll be the one that'll be the one we pitch.
Steering people through wormholes.
That'll be the one we pitch. So
right.
let's get drafting. I got an outline ready to go. Yeah.
okay.
I'm actually just before we move on, I'm actually really interested in watching this show. So
Me too.
Oh no,
Me too.
absolutely.
Forgive me. I don't mean to make fun of the show like it's bad. Just we do jokes here, but
yeah,
but
of course,
I
We
do
do
want it
jokes
to
here.
be more than it seems to be currently.
I don't know.
The
straightforward like historical dramas are really appeal to me, particularly when they're like quote unquote modern like this. So I don't know. This is just like catnip for me.
Yeah, see, here's what it's the Sorkin of it all for me, which isn't to say this is made by Sorkin or will be like Sorkin, but for me, like any across the board, any depiction of a historical president or politics or White House or whatever that's like in this really like glorifying light always bothers me a little. Like it always feels like they're pulling their punches right away, which isn't to say that's what this is. It's just the trailer makes it seem like it might be.
Maybe that's why I wanted it to be Nancy Reagan and Hillary.
Yeah,
where
it's the
like,
reverence.
You have to take a stand with those two.
Yeah, it's the reverence that they always treat it with. That's like, I don't know. It always kind of rubs me the wrong way, and maybe that's just because I don't completely, like our government, so that I think that's what it is for me. And what's funny is that the moment you do a fictional president, played by Michael Douglas, perhaps, or Kevin Kline, then I'm all for it. Then I'm like, God bless America. But it's just the fact that it's like these real people who did real things, and we're going to depict them as like nothing but good. It always, again, rubs me the wrong way. That said, the story they're telling here about the First Ladies makes it more compelling and makes it, like you're saying, Tom, like something I want to watch. Like if they were doing the same thing with the presidents, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
I mean, they
you know,
would.
does
They
that
wouldn't.
make sense?
Yeah,
They would.
They wouldn't in this era. But yes,
Yeah.
I understand, Dave. Your heart has a mohawk and a spiked collar. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't know what story they're telling about first ladies other than here's what it's been like being a first lady with three of the most
Right.
Notable
likable
ones. Yeah.
or dramatic. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm guessing it really sucks.
Being
Right?
a first lady, you mean?
Yeah.
It's
Like,
probably
I'm
not
guessing-
fun.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of pressure.
It's not,
yeah,
it's
sure.
not fun.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
if? Okay, honestly, and I swear to God, this is a real question. I'm not being a dick. What if next season they're like, okay, here's the three, and they pick like, you know, I'll say Dolly Madison again because it's safe. Dolly Madison, Nancy Reagan, Melania. Are you in or are you out on that, Tom?
Yeah. I'm out.
Oh,
Out on
Really?
that. Okay.
depending on how they do that, that would be amazing. If it's
Okay.
just her having like panic attacks in bathrooms, like if it's just like, man, that must have been. Maybe we're too close to it, but
That's part of it for me, for sure.
Yeah, it could be that.
I honestly, out of once the dust settles, she's like one of the few people where I'm like, I kind of want to know her story.
I kind of am with you.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. But I agree it's too close. But
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of a ghoul herself if you read up
Oh,
on
of course.
shit
Of
that
course.
she has said
She
in the
be- yeah.
past.
Of course, she's a ghoul. How could she not?
Of course,
be a
yeah,
ghoul?
you would have to be. Yeah.
Yeah,
To-
they're
to
all
make,
ghouls.
To make that bargain, yeah.
Yeah, but it's still the most compelling story to come out of that, in my opinion.
Unless you want to do something about
she-
unless you want to do something about Baron Trump. That must be a
Baron
nightmare.
seems
yet
like the most
being
innocent,
that
right?
kid.
and yet I don't. And yet I
Yeah.
don't want to do that. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
I
we
think-
probably should
yeah.
do that, but yeah, I don't know.
I feel like Baron. It's like he's got to make the first move. Otherwise, he is off my radar forever.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I regularly forget. I forgot about Melania until you just brought her up.
yeah.
Like his for luckily they are sort of pushed out of mind for me at least, just by the the bigness of Trump's shitty dumpy self.
Oh yeah, but like Baron and Tiffany, I wish them both well.
Sure.
I wish them
yeah,
a quiet, happy life. Just don't, just stay in the shadows.
Yeah.
That's my advice for them, who are definitely listening.
There is a Sopranos version of Melania's first lady story. You know what I mean? Like that is a possible thing that could exist. Not justifying anything she said or did, but I think we would watch it. I think people would watch it.
I think
Yeah.
give it 10
In
years.
a little bit of
and I
time,
think people
yeah.
would watch it.
Yeah, in a little
Yeah.
bit of time. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about Pieces of Her. This is the next one. This is another series. This is like John Wick, Toni Collette.
Is it a series or is it a film?
It's a series.
It's a series.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's all I know about it is it's based on a book, and it's got Toni Collette fucking being stone cold murdering people.
Yeah, this is one of those things where I'm like, oh God, I want this so bad.
Me
and
too.
I didn't realize it.
Yeah. This
Anytime-
I was thrilled by this trailer.
Yeah,
Really liked it.
anytime I've always liked Toni Collette, but like within the last couple of years, every time I see her in a trailer now, I'm like, oh shit, we got a movie
Yeah, she's been
now.
killing
Yeah.
it. Killing it.
She picks
Yeah.
really well.
She
picks
does.
good projects.
Yeah,
And she picks good parts for those projects. So
Yeah.
yeah, she whips ass. She's a great fucking actor. You know.
And this is apparently so the for people who haven't watched it, it's like a daughter and her mom go to the mall or somewhere. Yeah, the mall, and someone fucking robs something or whatever, and she just goes John Wick on the guy. It seems, and so this girl is like, "Oh, I think my mom can like kill people."
right. It's a little bit of Long Kiss Goodnight thrown in there, where it's like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
believe my mom is like a sleeper agent, or like,
Yeah, or like nobody, like the
Yeah.
Yeah,
from
this
last
could
year.
be a sequel to The Long Kiss Goodnight. Like this could be like her little girl has grown up a bit, forgotten what happened with
Yeah, that's
her
true.
and the guy from Scary Movie.
her and
and,
Craig Bierko.
Yeah. And like it's definitely framed that way, and that's as much as it tells us, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The movie, the story appears to be about the daughter starting to sort of unravel this mystery that's wrapped around who her mom actually is.
Yeah.
And can I also say this particular trailer is obsessed with like hand cannon Magnum style revolvers.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like nobody has a regular gun in this franchise. They all have like something out of Destiny, like a space revolver.
I know.
It's like, what the fuck?
It made me think of the motion picture Eraser.
Yeah.
And of like, action movies of the 80s and 90s where like everybody had the stupidest gun with like 19 different things attached to it. Everybody looked like a jackass with like a Nintendo zapper. And it was incredible.
Yeah,
that's how it should be.
This is a gun you would use to blow a hole in your drywall. You know what I mean? Like this is not a tactical pistol.
No, you want grizzly bears with that.
right. This is the one they give you at the end of the first-person shooter where you kill a boss with a headshot. Like, that's what this shit is.
Yeah, that's the rocket getting thrown out of the helicopter for you in Resident Evil.
Right, exactly.
Catch it in my teeth and fucking blow some tyrants away.
Yeah. This is the one you buy at the end of Resident Evil 4. I totally agree. It just makes me laugh that, like, we're all so used to guns and stuff that like a regular gun's not scary enough. It's got to be this metal colossus.
Right. Remember like old detectives where they have the like snub
Those little
nose
snub
piece
noses,
of shit?
Yeah. And we think they're all assholes now. We're like, look at that jerk. He's not going to get anything done, even though that gun can kill you just as dead.
Yeah.
How's he solving a crime with that snub nose?
Yeah. Look at that little piece of shit. I don't respect you.
It's completely stupid.
Give me a gun with a laser sight attached to each side of it. So it looks like fucking Predator is aiming at people.
That revolver could blast open a bank vault. Like, it is fucking stupid how big it is. Anyway.
I love it.
Me too. Long live Toni Collette. Into it.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
This trailer reminded me of something I've been wanting to do for a while, is to secretly learn how to breakdance, like expertly, so that I could like exist for like 30 years. Like imagine if we were at the mall and music started and I just started breakdancing perfectly. Like that would be amazing.
I can thoroughly imagine like in May, we're all like, hey, we haven't seen each other in like a year, guys. Let's go to the movies. And Dave shows up and then a song plays and he's like, he just jumps into a spin and we're all like, holy shit.
Yeah. Like
that would be incredible.
Whip out a cardboard platform from underneath your shirt.
Yeah.
Just throw it down on the ground.
Yeah.
And start doing sick like flares and flips and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're zipping around like, I don't know, one of those Ninja Turtles would do in a Turtles movie, like just really crushing it.
I got to say, though, Dave, I think unless you've already started, I think your window of opportunity to get really good at breakdancing has probably passed.
I know. That's the problem. It's like a 10-year prank where you have to like, because I wouldn't want to just be mediocre. I'd want to be like amazing at it.
It requires like the joints of a person in their 20s.
Yes, I know.
Like, let me tell you how much I would love it, though. Like, I would, like, if Dave was like, I'm going to do this, Dave, like, slims down, but he wears a suit to disguise that, right? And he's, like, getting it super, like, and it just one day springs the whole fucking thing on us. Man.
Oh, man.
I'll shake your hand that day, Dave. That's the day
I wouldn't want to slim down, though, because that like, I want it all Dave. I want it all the Dave doing it.
Maximum Dave. That would be that's your b-boy name, Maximum Dave.
Maximum
Dave.
Yeah. That is. It's a good idea.
It's a good idea
it's
that I'll never do.
Best idea.
Yeah. Thank God for the multiverse where there's a Dave that does it.
There is a Dave somewhere out there. Surely that must bring you some comfort, though, knowing that somewhere out there amongst the various time streams, there is Maximum Dave. He's doing flares and flips and grindage.
Here's
spinning at an incredible speed.
Watching his LeBron James dog playing basketball movie.
I'm not entirely like in the infinite universes out there. I think I'd be less. I'd be more surprised to know that one of them is a breakdancer than that none of them are breakdancers. Like that's more likely, right? In the infinite multiverse, none of me became an expert breakdancer.
That's the point of the multiverse, is every possibility exists somewhere.
Right. I still don't believe it.
That's true.
Yeah. Still
When
doesn't
faced-
seem realistic.
When
That's
faced
true.
with infinite certainty that it would
Yes.
definitely exist, Dave's
I
like,
don't
nah.
think it
actually,
would be one of them.
Those parameters are actually giving me pause now too.
Yeah,
Right.
like when you think about it, it's like infinite possibilities for Dave, not for the unit. You know what I mean?
Right,
Where
not
it's
for like reality, but
Yes.
like Dave.
Yes,
That's
I don't
true.
think any of those involve me being an expert breakdancer.
I
just
understand
don't.
that you are a set of parameters, Dave. Believe me, I keenly understand that reality. I just think that you're thinking too limited about this logic puzzle we've created that I'd like to spend
Sure.
15 minutes on, which is,
Right.
could you breakdance in the multiverse? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
You would.
All right.
And are.
I could be a Dinobot somewhere
Well,
in
I'm
the
glad.
multiverse.
Yeah,
And
I'm
are.
glad.
And
Yeah.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm glad we believe in each other.
Yeah. If anything's excluded from the multiverse, it's not a multiverse. That's the thing I
true.
think you really have to understand. If the multiverse exists, then everything has happened.
Right.
It has to.
Sure.
Anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that dirty black bag.
Fucking Wild West 8 heads in a duffel bag. I
Yeah.
am kind of pumped for this series.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
It's got Littlefinger
Okay.
in
Yeah,
it.
it looks
got
it looks
Littlefinger.
it looks like schlock, like absolute schlock. But I'm into it. I'm into like the grimy, hyper-violent western that it's presenting itself to be.
All right.
I think I
got-
wanted it to be a little more on the nose about being that than it is.
It felt a little self-aware, but not like winking at the camera.
Right. I think I wanted Machete. You know what I mean? Like, I think I wanted it to be there was a moment where he takes out the hatchet, you know? And I was like, okay, that's like, if we're going to get that out of this series, like now we're getting into comic book Western and I'm in. But
So
if
I
it's going
like-
to be constrained, I don't know if I'm into it.
So the the description is very funny to me. It's on IMDb. The description is a raw, epic, and romantic spaghetti western series about the dark side of the far west. And it was like, well, of course. Like, when has there ever been a movie about the West being just fine?
Oklahoma.
Right, like none of them.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, seven
Yeah,
brides
yeah,
for
that's
7
true.
brothers. That's about
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it's all.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like, yeah, that's you're literally describing every western.
Well, a guy hangs himself
just-
in Oklahoma, though, doesn't he?
I mean,
I don't know.
I've never seen it. I just know that
Like,
font
so it's
really
not-
cheers me up.
Yeah. So
Also, I like that they're like, this is the dark side, and it's like, wait, did people like go around with heads in bags? Like, is this a common thing?
yeah.
Did they?
I mean, I don't know. I hope so. I just wanted to real quick. What we glean from the trailer is that there's this dude who's traipsing through the West collecting heads on his quest for vengeance.
Yeah.
He's searching for a guy that has a specific Bowie knife with or is it Bowie? Anyway, with an eye carved into a distinctive eye carved into the handle that looks
Right.
like some sort of like cult shit, which I'm into that as well. So yeah, there's a lot of violence and colorful characters that surround this man's quest.
Yeah. I am mixed on this, but I'm definitely curious about it because the trailer is a little weird. The trailer's well done because it's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah,
that is
it
an
is well-
accurate
Yeah,
description.
but
It's
that's
more
the
of like
only-
I can't quite nail down the tone. I'm
Yes.
very curious about it.
Agreed. I think the
It's
only
got
way
Littlefinger and it's got Howard Stark in it, so that's something.
I think the only way for this series to stand out and be like, I'm into this, is for it to be a lot.
Yeah,
You know, like this thing needs to be like Preacher or something. You know,
Yeah.
like have you read that comic book Preacher?
I know of it.
Okay, yeah. I do think it needs to go that far because I think I've seen realistic grim westerns that are more hardcore than this seems like it's going to be.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, no. Let's go weigh in on Native American guy with gun arms. You know what I mean? Like let's
You're
let's
right,
go
right.
further in that direction because that's the way to get this to be fun.
Right. Westerns are all kind of bullshit, so it's like, why not? Yeah. There should be a giant mechanical spider in this, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
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 Kenneth Branagh with also spider legs.
Kenneth Branagh with that color hair forever.
Yeah.
That dyed black that has never existed in humankind.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
the I would call it family-friendly racism in that movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like he has to be racist, but it's like, we need kids to come
in
and
a
see this.
PG-13 4-quadrant blockbuster sort of way.
Yeah.
That is an insane movie.
That movie's amazing.
Do I remember his hair correctly? Is it basically Interview with a Vampire hair?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
It looks like a doll's hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's so black and so fake sitting on his head. It's amazing.
Yeah. Interview with a Vampire is very important film for both its homoeroticism and it's like the benchmark for stupid hair. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like anytime a movie tries to put a wig on you and it's like, oh, it's Interview with a Vampire level. Like, nah, man, this is working. This is not working. That's my line.
I need it to look like my scalp is 2 inches above my skull. So give me one of those wigs.
You know what's?
Give me a wig that just
wild?
sits on my head.
Yeah.
I have met someone with Kenneth Branagh's haircut in Wild Wild West, like
Sure.
the beard and everything.
Yeah,
like the weird Hunger Games beard. It exists.
it's a
out
commitment.
there.
Yeah, he looks like Tom Savini.
I mean, in the multiverse, there is a version where you have that hair, Dave.
Mm-hmm. Oh man!
And you're breakdancing. Both of those possibilities will eventually collide within the multiverse.
It exists. Spider.
I have
Dave.
that hair as a Dinobot in the multiverse.
In most of the multiverses. Like that's
at least
that's your
one
main look.
Oh yeah, right. That's my primary.
That's
right,
your main look. You're mostly that.
That's my keystone form.
This is the
Deviant
only
Tom.
universe where you don't have it.
Yeah. Right. This is the only one where I don't have that hair and I'm not a cybernetic dinosaur.
I'm still thrilled about that guy who used to be a producer of this podcast that was the guy that's just blonde Tom. And it's like, oh, yeah, he's from the multiverse. That's what's going on here. Like, multiverse Tom is paying for his own podcast. I dig that shit.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like this. I like what we're doing today.
I like us. All right, I want to talk about this last trailer.
Hell yes.
This was I don't know how to describe this. It's like meeting your soulmate that you didn't even know was out there. It's called The Pirates, The Last Royal Treasure. Too many thes. It's Netflix.
Yeah,
right?
It's a Korean film.
It's Korean, yeah. Because they've just been killing it lately.
They're
Is it
making
a
the
film?
best stuff right now.
I think it's a series.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a
I
series.
don't know. I'm looking it up.
I think it's a series. It
I
feels
hope
too
it's a
big to
series.
be
No,
one
it's a
movie.
film. Holy
No,
shit, it's a film.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it is out of its goddamn mind. And I'm so excited.
I think
Because it's like Pirates of the Caribbean, basically.
Yeah, it feels like it's actually like an evolution of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a more. It appears to be a more comedic Pirates of the Caribbean, but still with like the same action sensibilities. Like it still has the same kind of action.
Yeah.
But a little bit more, a little bit sillier.
I think it might
think
not
the action,
be sillier. It might just
They're
be
showing
the
us a
same.
lot. They're showing us a lot of silly beats in the trailer, but yeah, that's fair.
the action is also a lot cooler, I would say. It's a little more. It reminds me of actually. I've been watching All of Us Are Dead, and it's kind of that too, where it's a little more dynamic. It's a little more flipping through the air. They're kind of like squirrels. They're like squirrels running around. Does that make sense? Where like it feels a little different sensibilities than action movies in America, where it's like it's just I don't know. I just like it better. Does that make sense?
I mean, a little bit. I think that it looks more. There's a chance this is kind of just another Pirates of the Caribbean without actually taking all the IPs from that, and just it was made by a Korean team. Like, there's a chance it's kind of just a continuation of that tradition, if you will. And it's just it's been so long, and it's being done by a different culture, so it seems sillier and more actiony. But it's actually like, oh no, our pirates are just like that. They're just making a version that's like what we were doing. Like, that's possible.
Right.
That's a possible what this is.
Yeah, it's only like the trailer's not very long. I think it's less than 2 minutes.
But that
According
said,
to the-
I'm thrilled by this. Like, I'm really into it.
Yeah, it looks delightful.
Yeah.
According to the synopsis, they're searching for a seal that disappeared in a whale attack, And I think they don't mean like a seal like the animal, but I want them to mean that. But I think they mean like an ancient, like some sort of
I would
seal.
be willing to bet that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
it's the director has done like a couple comedies before this. So I think it is going to be a little more, it's probably going to be a little more comedic leaning.
it is a comedy.
Is my guess.
It makes no bones about that. Like I'm trying to think, did we ever make a pirate movie aside from like whatever that one, the Somali pirate movie with Tom Hanks, the name of which flew out of my
Captain
head.
Phillips.
Yeah,
Captain Phillips.
Did we ever make a pirate movie that wasn't sort of a funny romp adventure? Like, isn't that how we always do this subject?
We tend to go real swashbuckly, yeah. I didn't see the Stars series Black Sails. I think
didn't
that
either.
was
Nor will we.
a little more serious in tone. But no, I think you're right. Most pirate movies that I can think of from America lean more toward like the whimsical swashbuckling tone.
Well, there's the Phantom.
They also
pirates.
tend to fail when they're not Pirates of the Caribbean.
Or Three Musketeers, right? Like, which counts as pirates, right? Like that counts.
It's definitely swashbuckling, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess all I'm saying is, and I'm not trying to like bust anybody's thrill about this, is that like it's actually been long enough and it's being done by a different enough team that I am excited to see what could just be another Pirates of the Caribbean type movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know?
No, yeah, the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, what happened with those is we got sick of them because every new one felt like a parody of itself, like
Right.
like Multiplicity, where he keeps copying himself and every copy gets dumber. Like it felt like that. Whereas by the last one, it was like, oh my God, who cares? And they just did more and more CGI set pieces. You know, it was like the first one was like a stunt swashbuckling movie, and then by the last one, it was just like, what are we even doing? You know, like you told a trilogy and then you kept tacking on, you know, it's the Harry Potter thing where it's like they made 3 and they're like, that's the movie. But wait, let's make another and let's do another. And it was like, you're done. Leave the stage. Like, we're done with you. You did your thing.
They didn't exactly stick the landing with that third one either.
No,
So,
no, they did not.
the third one is bad.
Ooh.
It's a comparison I think I've made before where it's like, yeah, it's a band and they do the encore song and then they're like, and we're going to play for another 2 hours. And everybody's like, we want to go home. Like they overstayed their welcome. But I don't think there's anything wrong with the concept of them.
Well,
it was just like we were done with those characters.
I'm going to come
to the point.
I'm going to come in a little hot against that and say I don't disagree that they did too many. The problem is that Pirates of the Caribbean doesn't have a central lore or story that makes it deserve to have more than one movie.
Right. Well, they did. See, that was the thing is the first one was like standalone. And then they did that. They did sort of the Matrix thing where they were like, we're going to make 2 more. And they were smart enough to tie it all together.
Sure.
And tell a complete story.
It's just that we didn't need it.
And then they started doing... Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't need that. And then because the whole premise of it was basically how can we profit off of this ride at Disneyland that's actually old and outdated. So they had no reason not to keep profiting off of it, even though it trashed the IP.
Right.
Because they didn't care. And why should they?
Right.
You know?
It also became the Johnny Depp show,
Yeah.
Right.
which like in the first one, he's just like, he's not supposed to be the main character, but then everybody else was like bouncing. So like they didn't have what's his face and what's her face by the time they got to the 5th one, and it was just like, what are we doing?
Right. It's like if they kept making Karate Kid movies and then like they made them ultimately about Mr. Miyagi.
Right.
It's like,
and it's
well,
like,
he's the mentor kind of fun figure, not the hero.
Right. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with like going back to this trailer. Like that's why I'm like, oh, I love this because it's like I like the model.
Yeah, I really like the first 2 Pirates movies.
Me too. I'm hoping that they have.
I don't even mind the 3rd one, to be honest.
I'm hoping they have like a more solid tale to tell here. That's my hope. Is like, oh, at the bottom of this mythic story is like, an old folk tale or something that like is grounded enough that I'm intrigued by it. Even if it's like, even if it's something as broad as like we're adapting Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, you know what I mean? Which they proved that was fun and interesting.
Right.
Even if it's just that, it's like, okay, well, that's more of a basis to do this kind of movie.
Well,
not a ride, you know?
I'm sorry to tell you that it's a seal stuck in a whale, apparently.
Oh, well,
Right, but
even so.
that doesn't mean it's not an old folktale. I'm just going to believe
true.
it's a folktale, Dave. That's what I need to believe. So
That's fine.
I'm going to believe that.
That's fine. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm still
no,
into it. Still going to watch the shit out of it.
I'm into it. God, I'm just looking at screen grabs of the last Pirates of the Caribbean. What a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah.
I need to watch that again.
Like, that could have just been made to sell high-def televisions, honestly. Like,
Yes.
they might have even had a different
That's
goal
what
than
it
that.
is. It's like the thing that you play on a TV in the store.
Yeah, in a Best Buy. That's literally who it was made for, is Best Buy television.
Yeah. Starring Javier
displays.
Bardem, which is wild.
Sheesh.
Doing his best. Doing his best.
Yeah. It's a shame. That was a great character. Jack Sparrow, you know, you can't take that away. It was a great character.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of work put into
Yeah.
that character.
Yeah.
But then, it just, you know.
Oh,
Whatever.
this is a sequel, by the way. A spiritual sequel of the 2014 The Pirates. So there is
Ooh.
already a The Pirates film
Ooh.
that exists.
What is the one, I think it's just Pirates, is the one that at the time was the most expensive porno?
Yes.
Yes, that's not what this is, Dave.
Okay. And I feel like
just to
it's
reassure you.
since
Yeah.
I feel like Pirates, I'm guessing it's since been it was $1 million. Do you think it still holds the record?
I don't know, man.
For porn?
Yeah, for
I mean,
most expensive porn.
Is literally anybody making expensive porn now? Does
Yeah,
that
you're
exist?
right. It does not. You're right. It goes the other way.
Yeah,
now
I was
with
about to say it
budget,
doesn't seem like they would spend more
Oh,
money
wait.
on porn
Nope.
now.
Nope. The sequel, Pirates 2, was made for $8 million. That is wild.
The sequel porn film, Pirates 2.
Yep. Stagnetti's Revenge,
Oh, hell yeah.
Pirates 2, $8 million film.
Sure.
I hope they got their money back.
Me too. I
Yeah.
want good things for that crew.
Sure. I mean, I definitely don't wish him ill. You know, definitely
No.
don't. Definitely. I don't have a lot of investment in that venture, but good luck to him.
Right.
You know?
Good luck to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck
Let's
to
move
him.
on.
For sure. All right, fine.
You
We have
are
to
you
talk
sure?
about news stories.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, are you,
Pretty
You
sure.
want to move
do you
on
want me
that?
to read the synopsis to Pirates 2?
Nope.
All right. We got some producers to thank. Big thank you to Chester's Profit. Thank you very much. Thank you to Definitely Not Guillermo del Toro. Thank you to Brian, who Tom knows. Thank you to Bob Grenville. Thank you to Steven. Thank you to Han Toomey, the confused cyborg. Thank you to Asking Seven. Thank you to Thank you to Happy Ed 209. Thank you
There
very
you
much.
go. Let me jump in here. Thank you to Tiger George Pratt Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dan Hackroyd.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you to Manischewitz Maltov says the spice must flow, comrades.
Thank you.
Thank you to E.T. the Extravagant Terresticle.
Thank
Thank you to Cody Johnston's Time Machine Noise. Thank you to Pete Fort Pagel.
Thank
Thank you to Glitterous, CFO of Michael Shannon's Chocolate Factory. Thank you to pre-order Jason Pargin's new book. Pre-orders are super important.
It's true. Thank
Nice
you.
of him. Yeah.
All right, let's move into the news stories.
Yeah.
All right. So the Oscars is, man, they don't understand what they're doing. So in the interest of ratings, I assume,
Yeah.
they are eliminating 8 award. They're not
They're not televising them.
televising 8 awards. That's documentary, short, film editing, makeup/hairstyling, original score, production design, animated short, live action short, and sound. So someone, I forget who on Twitter, summed this up for me, which is like they're losing everybody. Like their ratings aren't good with mainstream audiences, and they were like, for some reason that was important to them, and now they're like alienating the film nerds. It feels like, so they're just making it, and they're just making it not interesting for anybody.
I will say that this is pointing out how little the Oscars matter and how nobody should care about them.
Yeah.
Like they're just an industry award. Like that's all it is. It's an industry.
They are.
It's the JD Power Awards of the movies.
Right.
So the idea that it needs to be this huge televised event that everybody sits around and watches is absurd. And the more that they chase that dragon and cutting away the awards that they televise, it just becomes more and more apparent. It's like, this isn't for anyone except the people who are getting the awards. Like, why do we give a shit?
Right.
I think they should really think about no longer making it a live broadcast.
Yeah.
Yes. They should ask themselves, are we in a trade award or are we a TV show?
Yeah.
Because they seem to be in this limbo.
They know
where
they're
they
a
can't
TV
decide.
Show. They know they're
Yeah.
a TV show, and they've known that for a long time.
Right, and so their ratings are down, so they're thinking of it like a TV show.
Right.
And they're saying, well, let's cut these characters, essentially. Like, let's cut out this stuff and go straight to the... But here's the thing. If they think of themselves as a TV show, why the hell are they nominating the movies that they're nominating then?
Because that's how they fund those movies' existence.
Yeah, that's how
Right.
there's... I hate that argument. Like, why are they nominating movies that people haven't heard of? Because a lot of people do pay attention to the Oscar nominations, and that's, in some ways, that's the only way a lot of people will hear about these movies.
And watch them.
Absolutely.
It's a money-making enterprise for
absolutely,
dramas.
but it's like, again, which are you then?
Yeah.
Because if you're a TV show and you're trying to get the best ratings, then nominate fucking Spider-Man, all the super. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like,
But I think that,
it's one or the other, and I agree with you guys that it should be where we're signal boosting these films. Still amazing that Green Knight didn't get anything, but
I think it's a really targeted. I think it's a targeted broadcast that for a very long time was dependable. It was dependably high rated. Everyone knew it was long, but we didn't care because it was a celebration of movies that we either already knew or already cared about, and it generated revenue for those movies. But that's no longer true because of the film market. And so now what they're trying to do is they're trying to make Twitter happy a little bit, which is a mistake. And they're trying to make it still a mass appeal broadcast event because it's still a moneymaker for that. They can still monetize that on advertisement, and it's necessary for movies like Pig to get nominated for stuff so that people watch it, so that they can keep making movies like that. So it does make sense. It's just that it's not working.
right.
It's not working because it depends on a culture that's universally interested in what Hollywood does. And we're not anymore,
Right.
Like,
I was
that's
about to
it.
say this is a bit of like, no, it's the children who are wrong. But for example, Forrest Gump won Best Picture, right? In
Right.
1994.
Right.
It was also number 2 in the box office in
Right.
1994. And so there's that question where it's like that whole thing where people like Spider-Man should get nominated. I sort of supported it because why the fuck not? But honestly, it shouldn't. Like it actually shouldn't. It's not a movie that should be Best Picture. It's not. It's a work of. It was well done, but it's just it's a commercial work. It's a corporate made movie that was just made very well, and there's so much more meaningful movies out there that should be nominated for this. I guess what I'm saying is it just that the Oscars don't matter now because movies that like we used to make that used to make a lot of money were worthy of Oscars?
No,
I don't even know if I could call them worthy of Oscars. But you know what I mean? Where it's like there was a time where like the number one movie in America would be stuff like Aaron Brockovich, where it was like adult movies that weren't just superhero movies.
I mean,
that were
20 years
actually
ago?
like human stories.
Yeah, 20 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
or longer. Like, I think, Forrest Gump is one of those, like, yeah, Forrest Gump was like a phenomenon that was bucking the trend. It's sort of like Titanic was bucking the trend. But the trend
Right.
has been since the late 60s that, dramas, a thing that people used to go to theaters to see, have given way to blockbuster films in terms of box office revenue, and that's what people want to see. And the industry wants to keep making dramas. And I get why, as a filmmaker, I would rather make a drama than a blockbuster film. So I understand that. But
and
people
also,
don't
there
see
are
them. It is what it is. You know?
There are blockbusters that can win Oscars.
Mad Max.
The Return of the King.
Yeah.
It's just that we've gotten to such a... I just think the blockbuster system, even the movies that I like, are still like... Yeah, they're trying to make these global market, turned out movies that I wouldn't call artless, but I get why they wouldn't be nominated
I think,
compared to some other movies that are out there.
Here's what I think. I think blockbusters in the last 10 years, last 15 years, honestly, they've been going this direction since PG-13 was invented. But they've
that's a good point.
Like in recent years, definitely within the last 10, certainly within the last 5, they all are the same pretty much. Like they're looking more and more similar than they did 20 years ago.
Right.
So that I think that's a problem. And then also live TV just isn't, people don't watch appointment TV anymore, really. Like they do, but like younger people really don't.
Yeah.
We've been in like a culture of self-curated viewing for so long now that it's like you're just not gonna get the audience that you used to get for a show like this.
Sure.
And
for sure. But I do think
the viewership is just going to continue to get smaller.
And also, we live it. They've never really sort of adjusted for the idea that most people have moved their like long form story watching habits to television. Like television basically is doing what movies used to do 30 years ago in terms of consumption.
I do think it's two different things, because you're right, is that all live broadcasting and award shows are probably all dipping in ratings for this reason.
Except
but
for the NFL.
Especially,
the NFL, I think, had its like biggest year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I do think, like, I want someone to graph out the highest grossing films and the relation between those and the films that were nominated, and that we're probably going to see a separation happen, right? Where like at a certain point in like the early 2000s, that those lines separate, where the big blockbusters have stopped. Because you look at something like Return of the King and you're like, or The Lord of the Rings, where it's like, that really feels like a fucking work of art. Whereas like you just, like you said, blockbusters are all kind of samey now, and they just feel more like they're churned out. There are some that are very good, but like they're all tied to these bigger franchises, so they can't like stand alone.
That's a big issue for that.
Yeah,
for
and
that
so
format.
They're like, like you can't really pick one movie and be like, oh yeah, that should win Best Picture, because it shouldn't.
Well, that's
because it's like Spider-Man 3. Like you can't just sit down and watch that.
You mean
and,
a blockbuster?
like,
You can't pick a blockbuster,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yes.
so just very briefly,
And so I do think it's the two things. Sorry, I do think our popular films used to also be films that could win awards, and I don't think that's the case anymore.
definitely. I mean, Return of the King, the example you keep using, is a blockbuster film.
Yeah.
Like it's that's what it is, and also it's like 20 years ago. You know,
I know. I'm saying that
Dave's saying they used to dovetail and they don't anymore.
Yeah,
right.
Blockbuster films used to actually be stuff like Titanic or Gladiator. Those used to be blockbusters that were also made by like directors that we were like, oh, we know who this person is. They're making their own thing. It's like an epic. Whereas now it's like, you know, it's the movies are
There's less
branded by their corporate branding now. It's a Marvel film. It's a Jurassic Park film. It's a Star Wars film. It's not really like it's part of these giant franchises. Not one single one really stands out, even when they're really good. Like even when you look at something like, I don't know, Rogue One, which I didn't particularly like, but there was definitely like intent behind that, and there was a person who was trying to make a good film that was emotional. They just don't stand out anymore for like the Academy because it's all just part of that noise.
Well, so yes, you're right. Those movies don't exist at the same level that they did. They still happen once in a while, like Gravity.
Sure.
Like Gravity or Blade Runner
Yeah,
2049 or
Inception.
Mad Max Fury Road or Inception.
Although I would say Blade Runner didn't make any money, did it?
No.
The new one?
but
No.
it didn't. But
Dune is this year's version, I would say.
So if we're talking about do they make the same money, the answer is no. But so I'm trying to get back to like what is the role of the Oscars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes the Oscars more essential. But not essential for the reasons they were essential before. They used to be essential for people to celebrate basically American culture. Like, that's what they used to be. And they're not that anymore because they've been exclusive for a very long time, which is an issue that we talk about every year.
Yep.
And because they don't celebrate movies we're actually watching. So, like, they literally aren't about our culture anymore, but they are essential as a way for people to become aware of a whole sect of movies that they wouldn't know about or see and will actually like. You know what I mean? Like they're more essential for like an RSS feed now than they are as a broadcast.
I don't think they're doing that though, because I don't think people are watching these movies, and that's the problem.
Well, I think I think some people are watching them. Like you have to argue it from. Is it increasing the number of views that the movie's getting? And the answer's got to be yes to that.
Sure.
Right? Like the number of people that watched Jojo the Rabbit or whatever 2 years ago.
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit, excuse me. Jojo Rabbit 2 years ago, it has to be much higher than the number that would have watched it had it not been up for Best Picture.
For sure.
Right? I mean, so that's the problem is like the argument still works, but I think that this trend leads us to inevitably saying like, okay, so let's stop doing the Oscars as a live event and start doing it like an AFI list that gets published
like
and
the best of the year. Yeah.
Let's do that. Like, let's do like a really interesting critical talk about like even a reality TV show that's version is better than what they're doing right now.
I agree with that completely because again, going back to like this deviation, it's that is what speaks to why people like. I think part of why people aren't watching them anymore because like they just don't have their finger on the pulse. Right. I would argue they also don't even have their finger on the pulse of film nerds because like I can't stress enough, The Green Knight should be somewhere in the Oscars this year. Like it just should be. Cinematography. Like
production design, adapted screenplay.
There's so many things, and so it feels like
especially that's a real crime if it's
and so it really feels like they've just they're just old and out of touch too.
They've always had recency problems too. Like that's why studios release their Oscar movies like in November, December, so the Academy remembers them.
Right, it's the Green Book thing. Yeah, it's just like It's that there's like that is in my head what the actual problem is, is that like for like the film nerd side where I'm like, well, you're not even doing that right. Like you're not even picking like the right movies to boost,
right? Because you
all
want
the time.
You want the Oscars to be written to be selected by the same kind of people that select like a baseball Hall of Fame. Or, you know, like the NFL MVP, right? Which is like, okay, so maybe we get some Hollywood professionals so that it feels like insider. But the truth is you want people who write for the Hollywood Reporter and for the AV Club and stuff to be selecting these categories. And that's
just me.
I'm saying, I get it. Yeah, sure. And I'd like you to do it. I'm just saying, like, that's where that argument goes, right? It's like, hey, it's the wrong people picking the awards.
Yeah.
You know, it needs to be like the Baseball Hall of Fame. And the problem becomes, in my mind, because I know how the Baseball Hall of Fame works enough, that then the list starts to no longer represent the movies that are getting made.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it starts to represent like what people want. Like it becomes like a Pitchfork Best Album of the Year conversation.
I think that's already the problem, right? Because you become a member of the Academy when you get nominated. So it's like after however many decades of sort of the same kinds of movies getting nominated and the same people getting nominated,
it reinforces itself. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. That's assuming that those people only make the kind of movie that they made to get nominated, which is not always true. And I'm not saying the Academy doesn't have these problems. They do. I'm just saying, like, no matter what group of people you pick, it's a set of biases, and the question becomes, do you want this award to be a real legitimate industry award, or do you want it to be a showcase curated for your specific tastes?
Right. And again, I think they need to ask themselves that question, because you're right, I think ultimately if they made it like an AFI list, it would just be more tolerable. And also I think it would be putting them on the level that they deserve, which is like, it's the Oscars. They're not deciding the best movie, really. This is a trade award. And if they just put it out like, so here's what that was, by the way, you'd read it and be like, oh, okay. Like, oh, I should check some of these out.
Right. Honestly, it's the same as like Applebee's getting franchise of the year. Like, that's what it is. It's an industry award.
Right. And it's like, it doesn't speak to necessarily it is a bubble.
Good for Applebee's.
And it's like, and so that's kind of what my feelings on it is, like, pick one. That's it.
Yeah, I get you. So can I comment on this specific mistake they're making?
Yeah.
Okay, so as a person who makes movies, every category they cut is stupid to cut.
Yeah.
It's an insult.
I get that they don't appeal to Joe America, who doesn't care about how movies are made.
Right.
That if they don't care how movies are made, the Oscars shouldn't be a thing that they consume.
Well, some of these original score, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Like, it's like, what the fuck?
Production
design?
Editing?
Yeah.
Sound? It was crazy. Yeah. It's a crazy list.
Like, think about a movie like The Shining, and think about, like, well, look at that hotel. Look at those rooms. Guess whose job that was? Like, Kubrick wasn't going around personally doing that shit. Like, I feel like it's insulting, and it's also, like, misunderstanding, like, putting too much emphasis on other awards.
Oh yeah, that's definitely you see it with the whole Snyder Bro discussion, where there's a subset of film fan who is becoming increasingly convinced that the director is responsible for everything.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, there's varying degrees. Adam, you definitely know this better than me.
Yeah, and the
but like. Yeah, where it's like, but this is definitely a group of people who are very good at what they do, gathering together to do this stuff.
It's a complete it's a complete disrespect to the way that films are made. Like, I have what I think is a somewhat spicy take. How about we don't do jokes and montages and hosts, and just do the awards? Yeah. Like, that's calling it, you know what I mean? Like, that could really cut this down.
Keep it moving.
Yeah.
It's for me. It's the pick one, and considering that they're cutting these, that's why I'm like, just fucking nominate Spider-Man.
But they're gonna have three fucking comedy segments or whatever that could have been these awards, and it's like, nah, I those comedy segments are not essential to me. I won't remember them the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just
also, everyone always hates the Oscars host. Like, the following day, there's always like a billion editorials about how crappy the Oscars host was.
The only host that I ever
who they put up there doesn't matter.
The only one that I loved was Chris Rock.
Yeah,
just because he pissed
everyone off and they never asked him to do it again.
He was beautiful. He was beautiful.
He's an anti-host. Like, of course,
because he's Chris Rock. You hire him, he's gonna be Chris Rock.
He pissed off Sean Penn. And it was like,
and Tim Robbins.
And Tim Robbins. And it's like, that's wonderful. Those guys take themselves way too seriously.
Yeah, they sure do.
Yeah,
Sean Penn was really insufferable about it. Yeah, I had forgotten about that.
Yeah. I mean,
what
I'm
a prick.
all for that. Just tells me that we don't need hosts, and we don't need these comedy segments, and we don't need to like
one or the other
lubricate this process more. It's like, just hand out the awards.
Speaking
one or the other
of lubricating the process, let's move on.
Okay. To this isn't movie news, but there wasn't much news. The no Call of Duty next year.
Yeah.
And like, it was very funny to me that everybody was like, everybody was like, oh my God. And my thought was like, wait, you've been putting them out every year?
Yeah, for like 10 years.
Longer than that.
Longer than that.
16 years. A really long time.
Yeah.
And
what a nightmare.
It's not this year, by the way. It's 2023. This
Oh,
news is
okay.
for next year, not this
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. Next
which
year.
is stupid.
That was my mistake. I thought.
Yeah.
My mistake.
It's all good.
The sub-headline was 2023 will be the first without a mainline release in 2 decades.
So maybe we should have more of that, right? Like,
Oh,
that's
fuck
my...
yeah.
I mean, that's always
Here's the thing.
That's always the death of these. That's the same thing happened to like the Tony Hawk games. The same thing. It's happened to a couple of different franchises where it's just this. They're all these game publishers are like most major companies. They're driven by what their quarters are, and so like they want to release this huge blockbuster game once a year so they can make a huge amount of money in that quarter every single year. It's the same.
Right.
It's the same
just
reason
that-
you're talking about making more Harry Potters or making more Disney movies, and it ends
You're
up
right.
destroying what the game is.
Right, because Call of Duty is like FIFA now, right? Where it just feels like every single one I'm like, oh, this is...
sucks.
Yeah, it's like they're so samey.
Yeah.
They barely are doing campaign stuff. They're churning them out. It's like maybe if you skipped a year, people would sit with the whatever the current one is and realize it sucks, and maybe they would be pushed to make better ones.
That is what provoked this. Is the current one, Vanguard, is not doing well.
It's because it's
Good.
not,
Or at
it's 'cause
least
it's not good.
It's
not a good game.
It's not good.
I had a solid week playing it.
Yeah,
that
I have
enjoyed
fun
it.
every time. Like once every 6 months, when we all hop on together as buds and do a couple hours of multiplayer. That's fun. But then I literally do not touch the game except for those times.
Yeah,
Especially
I'm also
when we
getting.
call down all those strikes. When we call down those
Yeah.
strikes forever.
Forever
This is gonna
strikes.
sound silly, but I have gotten like too good at it. Like I don't care about the grind anymore.
Right.
Where it's like, I don't know, what am I gonna like? It's also because they make them so frequent that it feels like when I sit down and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna grind, I'm gonna get a golden tomahawk, and then a new game comes out, and it's like no
so
one's
they're-
playing it anymore. So it's like,
they're-
okay, well,
they're cannibalizing their own player base every year too, which is another
Yeah.
problem. I think they're
and it's yeah.
yeah.
I don't think anybody at Activision has asked in a serious way in a very long time, what else could we do with this franchise?
Yeah.
Like they're not
Oh
even
no,
they're not
on
asking.
autopilot.
Yeah, I mean, like, so we're making fun of them for this, but like, if you could make a game franchise that was Madden and sold at this level, that is the best you can do in video games.
Yeah, they're
Like,
just printing money.
Call of Duty is literally the most successful a video game can be as a franchise. As an individual game, absolutely not, which is what we care about as consumers. But as a
Right.
business, it's like, dude, this thing's been
Yeah.
one of the greatest success stories of all time. Now the question is, do they want to do anything else? You know,
Well,
'cause
that's the question. Are they going to ride this into oblivion?
Assassin's
You know?
Creed, to its credit, even though I don't like it, they asked the question, wait a minute, could it be something else? And they went for something else. So, like,
Yes.
I'm intrigued by what Activision decides. What else could Call of Duty be if it does that?
Right.
know?
No, I agree with that. Obviously, my opinion is that they went the wrong way with what Assassin's Creed could be.
Right.
But you are right that that is a smart thing to do. I would say Assassin's Creed is here's the thing is, I honestly think Call of Duty doesn't have to change what it is. They just have to give a shit. Like it's more of like make a campaign that matters. Sit down with writers and say, let's actually think of a story. Maybe we can make a franchise. Maybe we can keep continuing the story in the new games. Maybe we could make characters that people like and know the names of. You know what I mean?
They've done some of that. Like, I think the Modern Warfare series, and to a degree, although I don't care for them, I know gamers do, the Black Ops series has been that. I think they actually need to take a step back and think even bigger than that. Like, I think they need to be like, this is the format we've been doing for a very long time. Is there more or different that we could be doing?
Yeah, you're probably
know?
right because, well, them more than any other franchise because the last campaign was like, it was like baby's first game. It was like, we're going to hold your hand through these cinematics basically
horrible.
that you play. Yeah, it was one of the worst campaigns I've played in a while. And it's like, so I guess what I'm saying is like, it also just feels like they've they're in like a loveless marriage, and they're
Right.
going through the motions.
Right.
And it's like, man, okay, so you've lost your passion for this. So you're right. What they have to do is do something else.
Even John Madden football or FIFA every few years is obligated by pure social pressure to rethink what other things they could offer the gamer. Like in Madden football, that's led to like franchise mode and like a narrative version of football where you play your way into the NFL and like stuff like that.
That's cool.
Because for a while there, it was literally just each year they would just update the roster.
Yeah.
And release a completely new
graphics.
game. Yeah. That everybody would have to buy, and it's just the same shit.
And consumers are only gonna put up with that for such a long time, like for a certain amount of time.
Right.
And
This is
Call of Duty's explored a lot of different eras and ideas, but it has not challenged itself for a pretty long time. I hope they do.
I think this is good news. And I do think I've been fucking whining about this for a while, and I've noticed the internet has too. I think overall people are fucking fed up with AAA games lately. And everybody, I've been seeing like on the internet people having these moments of like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what? Like, this is terrible. So I'm hoping these series will have to kind of earn their keep again instead of just like, like I'm glad the new Call of Duty people were like, nope, unacceptable.
Certainly,
Do it again.
Certainly, they've been more upset with the constant iteration AAA franchises. But again, things like Horizon Forbidden West and God of War and whatever Breath of the Wild 2 is, and all those games are AAA games. Elden Ring, that's a AAA game. Those games are all getting screaming acclaim or hype.
Well, I would argue, I would argue because those games tend to still have stories. Like Battlefield is also getting a lot of shit, right? And I think any game that's just like,
it's also
we're not
broken.
really, yes. And so it's like, you can forgive a game a little more when it's, when it has like some sort of heart to it, I would say. Whereas Call of Duty, it's like, hasn't had heart in fucking
100%. I don't think people are
decades.
fatigued by AAA. I think, if anything, the appetite for AAA games is higher than it's ever been, particularly after the pandemic. The problem is that they also don't want bullshit, and a lot of AAA games have been bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
know?
is I think lately it's been really bad.
Yeah.
And people are kind of like, okay, fuck this.
For
you
sure.
know, like pre-ordering, I think.
Yeah,
That's a
is
thing,
probably
we need
down.
we need to stop pre-ordering. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's
For
no
sure.
fucking
There's
point
no
with
reason
it,
to do it.
especially
There's no reason
with
to do it.
digital games, and people are realizing that
Yeah.
after they've been burnt on multiple games, people are like, stop pre-ordering. Like, they're using us. Like, they're taking advantage of people. These, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
well,
so
they're
it's-
also
I
taking
just-
advantage of their employees too.
Yeah,
So like,
I keep coming back to Cyberpunk 2077, which made $500 million before it even released, and when it released, more than half of its player base could not play the game.
I'm so
Right,
glad you
it didn't
brought
work.
that up. I'm so glad you
that's
brought that
fucking
up.
theft.
Because it is theft. That game rules now, by the way. I don't know if any
It
of you are
may.
playing it.
It may.
It does.
I'm never picking it back up again because I put
That's
it down
fine.
a year ago, and I'm never coming back to it.
Let me tell the rest of you, it fucking rules now. That doesn't make it okay what they did, but it's a great fucking game.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we can learn from that other than, you're right, don't pre-order.
It should have. They should have given it another year instead of
Yeah, I mean, it's
working
like
its
anything
employees
else.
to death
It's like
and
anything
putting
else.
a game
Amazing.
out. Yeah.
Imagine if you went to see the new Spider-Man and they're like, so we have half the movie.
Yeah, we have the first
know,
act
it's-
and it's real
yeah.
nice. You're like, fuck
Yeah,
you.
it's just that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like this
We would
is
not.
so...
We would not accept it in any other medium, and
Yeah.
than we do with video games. Anyway,
But we have just a fever pitch of passion and need for video games as consumers. Like, there's no
Yeah.
other group of people. There's no other like group of people more demanding of the product than gamers.
Oh yeah.
So I actually, I don't know. I feel like I'm defending Cyberpunk and I shouldn't.
I don't know. The point is
yeah.
that if go out and buy Cyberpunk, and if you don't like it, Adam will give you your money back.
Yep.
Yeah, the point is that is true in some multiverse. That's happening in some multiverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Making it rain cyberpunk bucks on Dave as he's doing his spins on his cardboard.
And I have the Kenneth Branagh hair in that multiverse.
Oh,
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, let's
move on
from our patrons.
Yeah.
God, we just can't make a short episode. Big thank you to the Midnight Patron. What patrons at midnight? Thank you. Thank you to Exploding Runes. Thank you to Andrew, the Proud Satanist. How? Thank you to Vincent. Thank you to Rev MD. Thank you to Lauren Gucci. Thank you to Bootler Boodleson. Thank you to Tux. Thank you to Ricky Cilantro. Thank you to Norm from Cheers. Thank you to Space McNulty. Thank you.
Let me swoop in here. Thank you to your mom. Thank you to Nolan Mayton. Thank you to Andrew Falmarino on Twitch and Patreon at Heartfist Brain McGuire.
Thank
you to AJ. Thank you to Tip Drizzle. Thank you to Burrito Mouth.
Yeah.
Thank you to the ghost of Dave Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you to Aaron Bursar.
Thank
you to Christopher Robert Sparts, Esquire. Thank you to Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's confusingly large dick. Chill.
Thank you.
Thank you to Funky J.
Thank you.
And thank you to Pie Guy.
God bless Funky J. Just sticking with it.
Sticking with it. You know
early
what?
adapter. Love it.
It works.
Yeah. Don't fuck with it when it works, Funky J.
Nope.
Love
exactly.
It's as funky as it needs to be. Dave. Dave, why don't you do the world a favor? Do the world a favor. Pause your breakdance training for just a few more minutes, and let me know if you have a movie that deserves more hype.
You got it. Let me checking.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Oh,
I have a movie that deserves more hype. This is a movie called
perfect.
This is a movie called Outsiders. It is coming out on VOD March 11th. It was originally called No Running. I've had a few more hypes that I'm sort of like holding on to. I don't know why this popped out to me. Well, actually, I do know why, because it's about aliens. There's aliens in it. It's about a high schooler who moves into this town, and he realizes he's like the only, like, his family, I guess, is like the only black people in the town.
Yeah.
Or not the only, but there's not many black people in this town.
It looks like it in the trailer, but yeah.
Yeah. He has this like crush on this girl. I think they go off during a party, and she gets just classic alien abduction, like X-Files shit. Like fire in the sky.
Which wasn't entirely clear in the trailer.
It wasn't, but there's just like a big old light that comes down.
Yeah, that I saw.
And and like, you sort of, when you tell people that this person we're hanging out with by the lake was abducted by aliens, they kind of assume you killed them, and that's what happens here. He's sort of on the run in this town that starts uncovering like some sort of mystery in the town around the aliens. I like the creepiness of the aliens in this, because at least in the trailer, you don't really see it much, and I like that. I have a feeling from the trailer it's going to tackle racism more than aliens.
I thought that's what they were marketing. I thought they were literally marketing it toward that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the marketing was more pushing it than the movie, but we'll see. It just looks, I don't know, it looks kind of compelling. It's new filmmakers. We don't get alien stuff very often, especially like horror alien stuff. And so I don't know, it looks interesting to me. What do you guys think?
I was into this. Yeah, I like aliens and horror movies. I think this is an interesting way to address this issue.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just,
the issue being racial persecution.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And sort of like small town suspicion, prejudice, and how it like you can't catch a fucking break in that situation. There's like nowhere you can turn in a situation like that.
Yeah, the original title "No Running" implies that more.
Yes,
which is like you can't run, then you look more suspicious, and it's like, but even if you're scared,
it's also,
I guess you can't run.
No running is also like a sort of voluntarily enforced rule that tends to only get enforced when it's somebody you don't like.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Of course.
So like, yeah, I think that's pretty good title, but
Yeah, but Outsiders is more to the point.
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
It's a better title. Neither of them are like, wow, what a great title, but
No,
Outsiders is better.
Yeah, I think so. It conveys the same point too.
I do appreciate that filmmakers are finding new ways to use aliens in fiction.
Yeah.
I think Aliens being a mirror about our racism, not about racism by being like a different race, but like being a way to expose our racism to each other is interesting. You know, like
I agree.
and that, by the way, is what the reviews suggested happens.
Right.
So that is, I think that's kind of interesting, and it brings us back to that first project that you brought up today, The Man Who Fell to Earth, which is also a way of using aliens to talk about some of our ills. Unless my brain just been blank. No.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be dealing. The Man Who Fell to Earth doesn't seem to be dealing with race as much, but for sure, there's like societal.
Like the fact that our Earth is dying. That's where the connection in my brain was. Yeah, so like that's like a new fun frontier to use aliens to talk about, and I like that. Obviously, I like the subject matter of this movie, and I kind of just like the casting and the way it's shot and stuff.
Yeah, it looks good.
You know. Yeah, well,
that's the other thing. It looks kind of
It looks like a good thriller.
Yeah, it looks unencumbered by a studio film. Like, it didn't look like a studio film, but it still looked professional. Mm-hmm. Which is, I think, one of my favorite things about indie films. Like, that doesn't look like a studio made it.
Mm-hmm.
And this has that vibe to me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, there's like a more dynamic life to it.
Yes.
It doesn't all have to, it's like, you know, with the big studio movies, like, well, it all has to look uniform. You know, it's like the Target. I can't think of the word, but, you know, every Target has to look the same regardless of whether you're in Duluth or Georgia.
Yeah. Right. I mean, also, indie films just take bigger risks on what they want the look to be. Mm-hmm. You know, films, like studio films, rarely take huge risks for like on a lookbook level, like on this is what the film's aesthetic is going to be. They don't often take big risks. This film didn't take a huge risk, but it's taking some, and I'm like, yeah, I'm into that, you know? I'm into that. It doesn't have to all look, you know, saturated and well lit and rounded and sort of like it could be, you know, and perfectly composed. Like, it's a little bit rawer than that, and I'm into it.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a good time for indie, like in general, because like it's cheap. Like the cameras are good, you know. Like it's easier to get a good camera for cheap. It feels like I don't know. It feels like it's never been better to make a low budget movie, and it'll probably continue to get better, right? So yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited about this one.
Well, all right. That movie,
Yeah.
what's the movie called? Outsiders? Check it out.
Outsiders.
I'm going to watch it.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Watch that
Outsiders.
trailer. And folks, that is a sewed. We've done it.
Woo!
Woo! Adam, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Hey, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Always happy to be here.
What in God's name do you want to tell people?
Well, I'm actually at a point where I can't say everything, but I just want you to know that patreon.com/smallbeans is a place you can find stuff I do. Stuff like the One-Upsmanship podcast with Swaim, and I'll show you mine if you show me yours with Maggie Mae Fish, and Director Piece Theater with Abe, and that's all this old bear can share today. But I'm pleased by it all. Oh, also you can watch me stream all the games I talk about on One-Upsmanship. I stream all the time on Twitch at The Real Gans. And you can follow me on Twitter, but it's a real waste of your time.
He's a real streamer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's real powerful stream.
Literally the only thing I post on Twitter is my Wordle scores for Dave. It's literally the only thing I post.
I haven't seen you do that in days either. So
that's because it's kind of dumb, but like, you know, watch me in like 2023. I'll bring it back.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Okay,
because I haven't done it since you stopped posting your scores.
Right. It's like,
Because I can't engage with the bit now. So I have no desire to play outside of the bit.
Well, they're also starting to put words up there that are smarmy ass words that are, they're getting real slick.
Real
with
New
it.
York Times
Yes,
words.
they're doing that. They're New York Timesing it in the worst way.
I wordle every morning when I have a poop.
Oh yeah?
It's my poop game.
Hey, Dave,
Yeah.
why don't you tell them something about our Patreon instead?
Sure.
Well, so every morning I get up and I gotta poop. So I do that and I wordle. And if people are interested, they can go on our Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. You go on there, there's exclusive podcasts there, like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, and Fox Mulder is a Maniac, and Star Trek The Next Futurama, and Spiel Boys for $5.
Spiel Boys.
Dollars.
Fucking love Spiel
Yeah.
Boys.
Thank you.
Best theme. Well,
God.
it's tied with the 1-900 hot dog theme.
That's true.
God.
It's a strong theme.
But yeah, that's all for $5 a month. If you want to pay a little more, $10 a month. We watch movies with our patrons every Friday night. We will watch, for example, Moonfall as soon as it comes out.
Oh, I'll
on
be there for
streaming.
that.
Definitely, yeah, that's happening.
Yeah,
I will
but
be there
yeah,
for that.
All right.
so check all that out.
We also have a store. Head over to GameFullyUnemployed.com where you can find a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs. You can get on T-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all kinds of things. Check that out.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. We're done. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye. Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, Corlew, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown, and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.